Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining me on my podcast. You're the first interview.
Awesome.
Well, the first legitimate interview because
Right.
I've interviewed my brother, and he's a photographer, and we just talk about nonsense.
Cool.
But you and I are not going to talk about nonsense. We're going to talk about hair and beauty in the industry. Guys, this is my guest. My guest is Nikki Ramos. Is that right?
Yes.
Not
that's
Ramos.
Right. Whatever
Ramos?
you like. Whatever you like.
Nikki is an educator, and you've been in the business how long? The hair business?
About 14 years.
14 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Looks super young.
Thanks.
How old were you when you started? I'm going to ask you your age.
18. Yeah, I started.
18.
I started cosmetology
Why did
school when I was 18.
why?
I graduated high school when I was 17, and my mom basically got tired of me sitting around the house, and she
you're
said,
like a genius?
No, my birthday's in September, so I started kindergarten. Yeah.
Oh, you started early. Okay.
Yeah. So my mom basically was like, you need to do something with your life, and I didn't quite want to start college yet. I kind of wanted that time to get to know myself a little bit, but she wasn't down for that. So she basically said, I want to take you to enroll in cosmetology school. And I fought it, but...
So your mom wasn't down with you finding yourself. She was down with you...
Going to school.
Going to school and doing hair. Why?
Yeah.
So she took you there.
She really just wanted me to do something, anything. She just thought that I might be good at it because I really liked getting my own hair done and I had good ideas. So that's really it.
You had good ideas about hair.
I'd go get my hair done and, tell the stylist what I wanted, different colors and things like that. So I was just kind of into getting my own hair done. She translated that as I should do other people's hair.
So you started school 14 years ago, or you were licensed 14 years ago? Is that about a year difference?
I'm 34.
Okay. So how much has the industry changed in 14 years? Talk about that.
The industry as far as business or trends?
Well, let me stop and say you are a hairdresser. Mm-hmm. I guess we didn't make that clear.
Right.
And let's talk about we'll get to trends, but let's talk about your resume. So
it's big.
That's why you're doing this podcast with me, because you have a lot to offer.
Thank you.
And you are one of my mentors. I can reach out to you anytime and ask you questions about color or business or blonding. Right. You're a really great blonding expert. You know the Paul Mitchell line extremely well, and we'll talk about that. Paul Mitchell is the brand that you work for and you represent. But I really respect you, and you were one of the very first trainers or teachers that, there's a few of them that really made an impression on me. So I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
For everybody. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and let's start to give you a resume. Let me make sure that we're filming, just because sometimes when everything gets going, we're in good shape. Cool. Okay. Sometimes you get excited and then something goes wrong with the camera. So since we don't have a camera person, guys. So let's talk about your resume.
Sure. I started school, went to cosmetology school. I graduated late. I was kind of a slacker.
Oh, wait, you graduated late. Oh.
Yeah, I was over contract.
Wait, okay. This is good. Uh-huh. Okay, so you, all you Paul Mitchell people, you're going to know exactly what she's talking about. Okay, and if you don't know, Google it. So you were over contract.
Yeah.
How much?
I mean, probably a few $1,000s.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I like to come to school when I felt like coming to school.
Wow, so you're one of those girls.
I was not like the model student.
One of those girls. Like Are you on Twitter?
No.
Okay, you're on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
At NIKKI RAMOS Hair. Yeah.
So they should follow you on Instagram.
Sure. Absolutely.
Where else should they follow you?
Instagram is really it's the hub for me.
That's
it's
it for
what
you?
works and the best way to communicate.
Are you on LinkedIn?
At least for my market. I'm on LinkedIn. Okay. Yep. For more of the business side, LinkedIn would be good. But
okay, so go to your
I would say
LinkedIn.
Creative Instagram for
Instagram. Sure. Everybody is what. So let's go back to we haven't even talked about your resume. I'll let you talk.
Okay.
Talk about what you What's your
Yeah,
resume?
I graduated school late, wasn't a great student, and then I had.
How did you get on this?
Really
How did you get on this
funny.
video?
Well, it turned out fine. That's all that matters.
I wasn't that good of a student.
Yes, you were.
No.
I took my state board and I failed the first time.
Whoa, this is good. I love this. This is really good. This is some good stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I failed. I didn't practice. I wasn't fast enough. The written was fine. It was the practical for me. I just had a hard time doing it in the allotted time frame. So
you were too slow?
I was too slow. I was trying to do a really good job instead of, do it really fast. And then I learned it's kind of more about the timing situation than how good you are actually
in state board,
for your state board exam. So I did fail the first time, and I was kind of devastated. I didn't really want to do it a second time. It hit you pretty hard. Yeah, it sucked. I mean, it's never fun going for like this huge test, and everybody expects you to pass so you can become a hairdresser.
There's that.
And
you feel like you fail everybody, huh?
Well, yeah. For sure.
So was your mom like really upset at you?
No, she's not really that type of person.
She was just like, well, you'll do it.
She's like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed.
Oh!
Just kidding. No.
Disappointed. Wow.
I don't remember any of that, but I feel like I was disappointed in myself because I probably only went to like 3 state board classes in my whole schooling, and I just, I kind of like failed myself, so it was deserved to not pass that.
Did you, all these years later, do you ever look back on that time and do you feel like you learned from that, the state board experience?
From failing? Yeah, for sure.
Because everybody looks at that a little differently, the state board experience. Like if they fail it or pass it, like everybody has a different, some people like do like 3 or 4 times. Then, that to me is like, I don't know if that's your bad or if that's persistence. Like you should stop at 2 times.
No, you should.
Is it a good
you
thing?
Should keep going because.
So you believe in persistence like that?
Yeah, some really great hairdressers failed their first time or maybe second or third because the pressure of an exam is just too much.
There's that.
But think of the flip side here. There's a lot of really shitty hairdressers out there that pass the first time.
You're bad. You guys are really bad. Or we know who you are. You're bad.
I think we can all agree that your state board exam is not a reflection of who you are artistically and the work that you do in the salon. It's really a reflection of timing, basic skills, and sanitation.
Yeah, like how do you, I think it's about pressure too.
Sure.
Because I don't know about you, but I remember every moment, I feel like, of my state board.
Right.
I remember every moment. Because you can appreciate this maybe more than people that didn't know me back then. If I had gone and failed state board my first time, it would have been really bad for me. There was a lot of extra hype kind of on me coming out.
You went to school at a completely different time than me. I mean,
that too.
We were barely getting started with MySpace, so it wasn't.
Nobody knew if you failed.
No, nobody knew unless I told them. There was not social media like there was.
Now maybe I would have taken it, but it just kind of felt like it would be a huge disaster for me personally to like not apply myself and pass that test.
Right.
So like I remember every moment. And I remember actually, the very first test is, I think it's the curls.
Okay.
And
like a Marcel curl.
The Marcel, yeah. Mm-hmm. And you have to test, do all the safety, and then put your bag. I totally forgot all that. So I was so like in the zone. I was like, and when I was done with that test, realized I had not done any of the sanitation.
Right.
And I realized I lost points. And just said, you need to now you have to be perfect. Like I didn't panic. I was surprised that I didn't panic.
Right.
And then at the very end, my acrylic nail, which the only acrylic nail I've really ever done and have never done one since.
Yeah.
I felt like God came down and helped me do that nail. Because
Stop
no,
it.
really, because I was like, oh shit, trying to do this nail. And I remember the state board proctor coming up and I remember, that's pretty good. And I was like, who did that nail? Like I was in the zone.
Like you brought a nail with you and slipped it out of your cuff?
Yeah, I was like, did the hand of God was on me. And I've never done a nail since. Anyway, I need to probably cut my nails now, but Anyway, so
oh, that's awesome.
So you failed the first time.
I did. I took it again like 6 months later.
Okay.
You had to bring a model and everything like
Yeah,
that.
that
So
was
it was
back.
a little
That
bit,
was back kind of in the
bigger
day.
of a deal.
Yeah, we actually had to bring
that.
a person. And now the first time or the second time?
Both times.
Okay. And then now it's just like mannequins and
Right.
it's
Way
even
easier.
Easier from what I'm hearing.
Way easier.
And then
which is good.
the fact that you fail now, you're just not studying. You know,
Probably.
Probably not.
Probably not studying. So yeah, I mean, finally got my license, and then
Okay.
I started working at a JCPenney salon. And
Ooh, that's a good place to start.
it
Actually.
was an awesome place to start.
Our friend Zach.
Yes.
Zach, he was at JCPenney for a long time.
And every time I talk to students, I let them know, that was probably the best decision I made, is to start at JCPenney. And they have a career path, they have training. There was seasoned hairdressers there, and they kind of took me under their wing and helped me so that I wasn't too big of a disaster. And I still have a few clients from JCPenney that I still do, so that would be like 13 years that I've been doing their hair. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Followed me to different salons, and
13 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can build a clientele at a place like that, and for somebody just starting out, I would definitely encourage them to start somewhere like JCPenney, or Ulta, or Regis, or Supercuts,
where there's
or
structure,
and
you can get like a commission check or however it works, or hourly.
It's an hourly
if you want
situation.
If you want to jump right out and you don't have another income or something to support you, that's important to have something. Right?
It is, and everybody is kind of at that different point, and every state has different regulations of how you can get paid as a hairdresser.
That's true.
So
California is making
for California
changes.
Specifically, I would say
there's some changes right now in California.
Yeah, but I would say if you can start hourly at a salon if that works for you, because the other alternative would be being self-employed, and not everybody's cut out to be a business owner.
That's true. You got to really hear what she's saying. If you're right out of school,
right,
and you're thinking about doing something, you really should think hard about it and make sure you have all your ducks in a row. I would recommend not trying to do anything until like a year.
Sure.
That would be my opinion. Booth rental maybe 6 or 7, 8 months, but you have to have a solid clientele.
Right, and
and know your business.
Yeah, when you're renting a booth in a salon, you are self-employed, and it takes much more than being a great hairdresser. You have to also have the business experience that comes along with that to really understand your profit margin, a profit and loss, everything.
You have to keep track of everything.
You have to keep track, or you're just going to be in this constant spin cycle of not growing. You're just staying steady so you can pay your rent and supplies. And that could be like a whole separate sort of podcast, but
right on how to do those things. But
I think the industry is kind of doing a disservice to our newer people coming in. Is we're making it seem like being a rental stylist is the best, or it's better. And it's not really better, because not everybody is cut out for that. And so I think if we all can just sort of stop that stigma of, I'm better than you are because I'm in a rental salon.
Right.
And, you're just making a wage at a salon. Like, that doesn't make us any different.
Yeah, or you're just at Supercuts.
Yeah, and it's like,
that's a great
I have
gig,
seen people.
Really good haircutters there.
Yes, I have seen really people make great money at places like Ulta and JCPenney's.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you're just not cut out to be your own boss. You need the accountability of somebody there, like a salon manager, helping you to grow your numbers.
It's really important.
So, just take that pressure off of yourself to have rental stylists be like the end all of your career, because it's really just not for everybody.
Yeah, it's not it's not really the title you should want. It's the title you should want is really good colorist, or very good hair cutter, or educator.
Yeah.
And how you perform your art is just very different. Some people just do weddings. Some people just cut hair. Some people are just colorists. In our area in Sacramento, you pretty much have to do everything.
Yeah, I would say not a lot of people compartmentalize here. They do more of a full service experience, which, you know, either or. If you're going to only haircut, chances are you're working side by side with a colorist. So I do see a lot of that in Sacramento for people who have chosen that path, and that works really well too.
Yeah,
you just have to do what works for you.
And you're right, and that's part of also being in the place that you fit into.
Yes.
A really good salon or full service.
Yeah.
You know, Supercuts, JCPenney, Ulta, and someplace, you know, Veda, they have that's a good system to start in. There's a lot of good systems. So if you're new to this business, if you're Googling, hopefully the keywords helped you find this video, and you're new to this and you're still in cosmetology school, it's important for us to send you the message that there are many, many options to be successful.
Yes.
It's not just one thing. But the one thing you need to know is, what are you good at? What motivates you? What's your passion? So speaking of passion, so let's go back to your resume. So we got halfway. I keep interrupting.
Yeah. So started at JCPenney, and from there built up a clientele to the point where I could be a rental stylist. And that's pretty much what I've been doing since, is being on my own and maintaining and building a clientele. Somewhere in that, I did start my journey as an educator.
There we go. That's
but I never stopped doing hair behind the chair.
Right.
And so I think that is a very important point, because there might be some people out there that have the misconception of when you get tired of doing hair, then you become an educator. And it should be quite the opposite.
Yeah.
If I am an educator, I need to be even more engrossed in this industry. I need to be behind the chair with my hands working in hair
all the time
to be able to deliver the information to an audience.
So let's talk about, what do you do as an educator? Talk about that.
Sure. So right now I have kind of two roles that I play as an educator. The first one is I'm on the advanced education team for Paul Mitchell Schools.
Okay.
So
Paul Mitchell Education.
Yep.
Or Paul Mitchell Schools, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's with the schools. We have so many schools around the country and even internationally, and they're all amazing. So my role is to go to different schools and train their staff of learning leaders.
Yeah, so
they're educators.
You train teachers to train the new hairdressers, the future professionals, we call them at Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, and so they're educators. Once they have training with me, they also have a certification process.
Okay.
Where they basically stand up in front of me, do a mock class, and I would give them coaching and feedback on their class as far as content and presentation skills. So it is a really nice checks and balances, and that's why I do go to these different schools. It's specifically for hair color, and just teaching methodology, making sure that future professionals in Paul Mitchell schools are getting the best of the best. I also write curriculum. That's really not as glamorous, but
that's important.
It is important because
that's really cool.
All of the Paul Mitchell schools, we use the same curriculum and lesson plans, and we update twice a year mostly, and so we're keeping it like really fresh, and I think it's cool, but I think a lot of people would think the best part of my job is the traveling and teaching, but really the most important part of my job is writing the curriculum.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to put it. So like the glamorous thing is like you travel around, you meet people, you teach them, but you actually have a requirement as an educator to be able to write curriculum.
Absolutely.
That seems really hard. How do you do that?
I do it.
I don't know how to do that. I write a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I write about me. If it's about me, I'm good at that. I'm not sure about anything else. So like, how do you do that? How do you write curriculum?
It first comes
for
from
teachers.
It first comes from an understanding of how people learn best, and Paul Mitchell Schools has done a really great job of integrating multiple intelligence and really seeing how our future professionals learn best and teaching that way. So it starts with really just understanding how somebody's going to comprehend. And then also when we grow our lesson plans, it's mostly what's trending in the industry and how can we help them to be more successful.
So you were talking about the methods of learning?
Yes.
Or so expand on that a little bit. What is that?
Sure. Definitely.
Because that's a big deal. Some people might, what is that?
It's a huge deal, and it's actually what sets Paul Mitchell Schools apart from any other school out there is we have our future professionals take an exam to see how they learn best. You remember yours?
I remember.
And
I don't remember how I learned best, but
because everybody is smart, we're just smart in different ways, and we all learn differently. And so it's important as an educator to.
It's like hands-on.
Exactly, body kinesthetic.
Talking.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Math logic, spatial. You have to see things.
Let's see.
Interpersonal.
I think I have to see them, not do them to get it. Like I think that's who I am.
Yeah. So you're a little bit more visual? Spatial.
Yeah.
Yep.
Spatial.
I'm very spatial.
Yeah.
In more more ways than one.
Why we connect.
Yeah. No, I'm super spatial. So
super spatial.
It sounds weird.
It sounds like
it's true.
Are you spatial?
I'm very spatial.
Okay, we're very spatial together, spatially.
Yeah, but
so the modes of learning.
It's really unique because if I am a spatial learner, then my inclination would be to teach spatially. So using a lot of charts and diagrams and visuals
so
and
also
posters.
You learn how the kind of teacher you are.
But I can't just teach that way because there's other people in my classroom who don't connect to that type of teaching.
Well, it's also what you're teaching as well.
I have to be very dynamic and teach to all of the different learning types to make sure that everybody is getting something from my class.
Got it.
And so
that's hard.
It is hard, and
it's a lot of fun. It's probably rewarding when you make that happen.
Yeah, it's great, but it's absolutely necessary because when I went to school, I went to a traditional learning type school, and basically our theory class was, get your notebook out, and I'm going to put a film up on the screen. What are those? A projector, right?
Right, yeah.
And
those old things.
Our teacher would just read off of the projector. That was it. That was the class.
Are you talking about not cosmetology school or
cosmetology school?
Really? You had a projector?
It was a projector. And
now it's like iPads and shit like that.
No. So imagine just like this sheet of the My Lady book and somebody just reading it to you.
My Lady
That's
book
probably
is
why I didn't
the textbook for
the textbook. That's probably why I didn't do so good is because
that's hard.
It was just like wah wah wah.
Yeah.
But it was a long time ago, and now it's different. And Paul Mitchell as a company has partnered with experts to really understand how people learn best, and that's not how most hairdressers learn. So for me, it's nice because I've been on the other side and I've seen traditional type learning, and then I've seen the way we do it, and I think it's really unique.
Wow.
That's important.
It is really important. That's a really good way to break it down.
Yeah, it's more fun, it's interactive, it's engaging, and that's when I go to other schools, that's what I'm motivating their learning leaders to be, is engaging in the classroom to keep the focus and attention from their learners.
Well, they should be able to, you should be able to impart that to the teachers.
I do.
Right?
Yep.
And that's important.
Most definitely.
They should be better at teaching after, not just better at the technique, but better at actually educating after spending time with you. 'Cause that's
absolutely. Yes, it comes hand in hand of ownership of the information, but also how to deliver the information
effectively.
Yep, exactly.
So that brings me to, you're a national educator. Is that what being a national educator is?
That is
just
being on the Paul Mitchell Advanced Education
Education team. Okay.
So that is with the schools. My other job.
Your other job.
I have a lot of jobs.
Yeah, me too. We all do.
My other.
You should have a lot of jobs too.
No, don't have a lot of jobs.
4.
Don't. It's a trap.
Look at us.
So my other job is being a national educator for John Paul Mitchell Systems. So this is the product side, the product and the technique.
Got it.
So when I go and teach for them, I am teaching in salons.
Right.
So I have a whole different audience.
Right, which are professionals already in the business, all different age. I guess age is a good way to say it. Or years of experience. A lot of diversity with that. That's interesting.
Definitely. So I come into your salon, I introduce new products that we have, color, cutting, style. I do everything for that company.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, updates, and we just have fun. I usually do models or doll head and really get hands-in learning, usually 2-hour blocks of time for those classes.
And the Paul Mitchell company says, hey, go to this place.
Yep.
And you go.
Exactly. Any salon that carries anything Paul Mitchell, there's so much educational support from the company.
Yeah,
so
that is true.
They
really,
want to send you educators.
I'll say when I had my salon, Paul Mitchell was amazing. Really incredible. And they've always been incredible. I'm Paul Mitchell for life. You know, it's always going to be, I'm always going to be part of the family. Even though I'm not always using Paul Mitchell now or always doing Paul Mitchell things, that was it. Like if it hadn't been for Paul Mitchell, I wouldn't have known anything, and you and other really great people that took time to like impart in me. Right. So now you do stage work too. So I want to talk about that. So let's talk about, so how did you get to stage work from those two things?
Luck of the draw. No.
Paul Mitchell has big nationwide conferences, right?
Hair shows, conferences. Yeah, we have lots of.
So you go on stage.
Yes.
And there's like what, 1,000, 2,000
or more. It depends where I am.
So it's either students at Caper or at the gathering, right?
The gathering,
the big
or
Paul Mitchell
local hair shows.
Or hair shows. So talk about like, what is it like to be on stage? Because a lot of people watching this, they're in school and they see everything on YouTube and they see all these people doing videos and they want to be on stage. Like, oh, I want to do that. Like, talk about that feeling. Like, first of all, talk about how hard that is. Like how nervous a person gets, and then talk about how to get through.
You know what though?
Do you not get nervous anymore?
Not to like, yeah.
Did you used to in the beginning?
No.
Really?
That's the thing is,
I mean, people are different. Like I always get nervous, but I mean, I fight through it. After a few minutes, I'm not.
There's like a certain level of nerves and stress, but for the most part, I'm very like zen. Before I go on stage, it's comfortable. And actually, most of the times, I would say I am more comfortable on stage teaching to thousands of people than I am in a small group.
Or one-on-one in front of a camera.
Right. Yeah. You know, and like that's like my natural habitat.
So do you thrive on it? You like it?
Love it. Yeah, it just doesn't freak me out.
So how do you get asked, like a lot of people are like, well, how do you get there, right? So how do you get, I mean, obviously people see the work you're doing and you know people in the business, like, oh, we can trust her, she's can perform really good, she's reliable. Like, how does that happen? Like, talk about the moment where you're like, wow, like I'm doing this. Like, talk about that. Like when you weren't doing it and then all of a sudden you got asked to do it and then like you're doing it. Like, because there's that moment, right?
That's the thing. You should be doing it all the time.
Okay.
You don't do it when you're asked to do it. It's your work off stage is more important than your work on stage, and that's where a lot of people fall short.
I like that.
It's responsibility. It's not just your talent. Anybody can go on stage like, I'm the best, but it's really what you're doing behind the scenes. And so being supportive, being the same person, like authentic, I think is really attractive. And that's why I do get asked to do a lot of stage work, is because it's a seamless transition for me. I'm the same person on stage than I am off stage.
Do you remember the first time you got asked to do it? Like that. Talk about that moment.
Like maybe the first time I got asked to teach at Caper.
Sure. Yeah, that would be.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same reaction.
Really? So you're like, no big deal.
No, huge deal.
I don't mean it like that. But you're like, okay, you like rose to the challenge.
Well, yeah, you don't say no to opportunities like that.
Right, but like it didn't scare you. Like it scares me.
No.
Like
no.
I mean, I don't mind talking in front of, like, I can do it. I've done it. I've done certain things like that in different ways. Right. And I've done a lot of TV. That is different. But I still get nervous. How do you are you just naturally not nervous? How do you overcome?
No, I'm a very naturally nervous person. I'm a warrior.
How have you mastered that?
I have a lot of experience of public speaking.
Okay.
That's really why. Yeah. From a very young age, being involved in youth organizations that had public speaking in my personal life. I mean, I would say I probably started doing that when I was 10.
Okay.
From 10 to 20.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Of being in different...
So you're like me, you like naturally, like I took acting classes when I was a kid. People don't know that. Took acting classes and I was very musical. And I can actually sing a little bit. Something I did. I took a lot of music lessons.
Yeah.
So a lot of that got me to a point to where I wasn't afraid of being on stage or in front of people.
Yeah. So if you think about it, most of my life I have been on a stage in some way, shape, or form. Whether it was public speaking, I showed animals for like 4-H. Don't laugh at me. Okay.
I didn't say anything.
All right.
I think that's great. I like animals.
I'm a big animal choir guy. And plays and things like that.
So like, let's go back to 4-H. So did you wear like the
I wore
4-H
the outfit? Next, I wore the outfit.
And then what was your favorite animal in 4-H?
Sheep.
Sheep. Okay. So what's the big deal about sheep in 4-H? Like what's the thing with sheep?
It's kind of a girly thing.
All right.
I don't think there's a thing with it.
Is there like a way you should talk to the sheep? Like talk to the animals?
Well, you should love them and
you
have to feed them. It was responsibility. It taught me a lot of responsibility at a very young age.
4-H is good.
And
nothing wrong with that at all. I think it's a cool thing. I didn't grow up around a lot of animals.
It somehow has served me in my adult life with responsibility, showmanship.
You mentioned it, yeah. Like it did affect you. So all of you parents, get your kids a 4-H
and I did
task.
I did FFA, Future Farmers of America.
Okay,
and
isn't the same
it's
thing?
like the grown-up version.
The grown-up, okay.
When you're in high school and junior high.
Got it,
yes.
Yeah, I can't remember that, okay.
And so we actually had like officers and things like that, and Parley Pro is what you called it, where you did debating, more public speaking.
So you
I just have like...
So you from an early age you were trained to be in front of people. I would say
9 or 10.
So what would you recommend? Some people are very nervous about those kind of things, but being in front of people is really critical to being a hairdresser or makeup artist, right?
Yeah.
So what would you because you're like one-on-one with someone, a consultation, you're meeting strangers all the time.
Yeah.
The goal is to actually get new people to visit you. I still bring new people in even though I don't have enough time like I used to. You still bring in new clients.
I do.
It's something you get better at as you do it. So it all kind of translates together. What would you recommend to someone that doesn't really know how to do that? Like how to not be nervous around people. And they've never been trained.
Get over it.
I
mean,
just be like tough on yourself.
You have to get over it, and it doesn't mean that if somebody is very shy that it won't work in this industry. Because actually, like I do consider myself very shy.
I can see that.
But you put me on a stage, I'm not shy at all because it's a different element. I'm a performer.
Yeah.
So if you can figure out how to always be on stage and always performing, so if that means you develop this not character but a persona about yourself and go with that, I think that is really helpful. But right now being an educator is super cool. And everybody wants to be an educator. Everybody wants to be a platform artist. It's super hot because education is sexy, and
it is sexy.
We need it to grow.
We need sexy education.
We need very sexy education. But
that's why we're in this business.
But let people who are really great at that do it. So if you're sitting there and you're like, I want to be a platform artist, but the sheer just thinking about being on stage gives you an anxiety attack. Don't do that. Like,
maybe that's not your thing, yeah.
Find your fit. Like you said earlier, find your fit in the industry.
What's unique about you?
Don't
try to copy what other people are doing.
Don't try to be somebody else. Try to be the best version of yourself. That's how you're going to be successful, because that's a problem right now with social media is everybody's spinning their wheels trying to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
And we're losing ourselves.
Let's talk about Instagram. Like you were mentioning that you're just pretty much on Instagram. I'm actually primarily focusing everything to Twitter and YouTube right now.
Cool.
That Twitter is so powerful.
That Twitter. You
Twitter.
sound kind of old.
Twitter.
You know that
Did
Twitter.
I say that Twitter?
You young kids.
That Twitter is powerful.
The interwebs.
The internet's really powerful, you young peoples. The Twitter. I like the Twitter and the YouTube.
Yeah.
Because, man, it just really reaches the world. I've tweeted stuff and got a lot of negative reaction and didn't even think I was like coming off wrong like that.
Oops.
Not even understanding the reach that certain things have, and YouTube the same.
Okay.
So
but
you're just.
So here's the thing. With social media, you have all these different outlets.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out what you're trying to get from that. So if your goal is to reach a local audience to bring in more clients into the salon, Twitter's more of a global reach. I'm not
Sure.
certain that Twitter would be the best. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but Instagram is really hot for that because your consumer can search hashtag Sacramento hair color, and you might pop up.
I do,
you know?
I do use. I have 2 Instagrams actually,
Right.
so I do that. It's just not my biggest focus at the moment.
And exactly.
Right.
So
how do you use Instagram?
I use Instagram twofold.
Okay.
And one is to attract new guests.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that is my number one use or consumer of followers.
Okay.
I would say that most people follow me are other educators or hairstylists wanting to be an educator.
Sure.
And that I'm totally happy with that. I love having most of my followers be hairdressers because I can post formulas and tips and tricks.
That
and
really is a lot of your
relate to
audience.
them.
Yeah, that you're
Most of my audience, I would say is future professionals, students, learning leaders, educators.
So Instagram you
hairdressers.
use to basically reach the audience that you already have, like your people, your crowd, your fans.
Right.
We call them your fans. Right?
Yeah, but that is my job. Like I have 2
Yeah.
jobs. I'm a hairdresser behind the chair, but I'm also an educator. So my consumer are going to be 2 separate people.
So it's almost like your business card or your billboard, Instagram for you.
Oh yeah, it's
everybody
my
has
portfolio
different.
for
Because
sure.
I'm interested, like what's your thought process when you post something on Instagram?
Yeah, my thought process is make something look beautiful so a
Okay.
guest would be attracted. But I would say probably my main target audience is other educators to help them be successful and give them tips and tricks.
Okay. I'm going to check our time here, but what tip would you give an educator right now? One tip that blow their mind. What would you give them?
One tip for an
40 minutes,
educator.
doing pretty good. Yeah, because you're talking to a lot of different educators, not just
know.
like Paul Mitchell educators.
Right. I would say just, I do a lot of coaching with educators to
Okay.
help them to kind of come into their own and develop their own teaching style. So one of the pieces of advice I give a lot of people is to watch different stage artists or educators online, and that will kind of help you to get your own style of how you teach.
Okay.
So like for me, when I was first starting, I would watch Linda Udici a lot. I really loved the way her hands moved. Lucy Dowdy, I love the way she just comes across. Like
These are
very,
Paul Mitchell educators.
Yeah, Paul
You can
Mitchell.
Google them.
Lucy's very eloquent in her words, and I identify with that. Heather Cottenoy, she's very clear and direct. So I really take attributes from different artists to make my own version of myself, my identity when I'm on stage. So, my advice would be don't try to be somebody else, just try to be yourself. Like that is authentic. And
But
when
you can
people
definitely, learn from people,
yeah, when people know that you are being authentic and you're real and you're not fake, they want to be open to learning. And that's the most important thing, is to get open learners.
What trend, that's something that we started on, but we kind of got away from it. Since we're talking about following educators, kind of finding what they do great and attaching yourself to those attributes, what trends right now educators should follow?
Presentation skills, really. Just being clear in your message. There are so many amazing hairdressers out there, and it seems that all of them now want to be educators, and Honestly,
Not
okay,
me.
good, but
Not me.
it doesn't.
No.
That's only part of the job description, right? Like
No.
you have to be comfortable and confident in sharing techniques. Your hands need to move beautifully. You need to be very clear, easy to understand, and follow a rhythm and a flow with your teaching methodology.
Yeah, see, that's,
not everybody is trained to do
I'm not.
that.
Yeah, like I'm so not structured.
And
like,
so that's okay.
and that's why I'm learning. No, not for Jason. No, I mean I educate in different ways.
Sure.
Like I this is a form of education.
Definitely.
Communication and trying to help people be better, and
Right.
also getting like really good knowledge out to people. But yeah, that's a great trend. Presentation or communication skills.
Yeah.
What if you don't have anybody in your life that's a mentor?
There's no way.
Ooh, okay, all right.
That's
So
impossible.
what if you feel like you don't have a mentor?
Then you need to hop on Instagram and find one. It's
one.
just way too easy. And there are so many people out there who love giving back in the industry, and mentoring somebody really is giving back, and it's giving somebody something that we wish we would have had at that moment.
Yeah.
But what's most important when you're finding a mentor is to find somebody who has done what you want to do before. For example, if you are looking to open your own salon, your mentor should be a successful salon business owner.
Not me. No, it was good. It was good while it lasted.
That's okay.
I just realized it wasn't my thing. We did
Sure.
it. I did it for over a year and was like, I'm out.
Right.
But I learned from it. But yeah, you should find like Mac, who runs our salon. She's very good.
Right.
Very good. Like
Yeah.
thought of stuff I would never think of. So yeah, you find somebody that knows what they're doing.
They've
and
done
they're
it before.
doing it and they're making
They're
money
doing
out of
it. Yes, their
Yeah.
passion is their paycheck. You need to find people like that and have them in your corner, but it's not enough to just have somebody be your mentor and you're their mentee and you ask them a bajillion questions. You actually have to do the work yourself. And
You have to apply it.
you know, there's that twofold of having a mentor situation is not just taking, but you're also giving us information of how you're applying this, how you're growing, and where you should go from there.
That's something good. Okay. The big assistants are like a big deal for me. Like I feel like people just don't know how to really be a good assistant. Do you feel like that you run into that? Or is it just me not being
I will say,
finding good people? I'm just out of the assistant business. I'm
Okay.
done.
I will say
I'm
maybe
done.
you're just not a great teacher.
Oh, yeah, I'm not. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair criticism. So
I've had people assist me, and it is all about just being very open and honest with what you need. I need you to stand right here.
Okay, so
I
let's
need
talk
you to
about that.
hand
Okay.
foils with me with the fold up.
I'm bad
being
at it.
very
She's good at it.
specific.
So let's give some tips.
Yeah.
If you want to be, if you want to be with somebody very good in the salon, give some tips on how to be a good assistant.
Listen, keep your ears open, keep your eyes open.
Listen.
You are anticipating your stylist's next move.
What is anticipating?
Well, if you're watching me foil and I just got done folding my sides of the foil in, you know I'm going to be ready for another foil in a minute.
Exactly.
You should be holding hair for
Boom.
me.
Hold the
You
hair.
should be sectioning for me. Like, you
Move
know
ahead.
where I'm going.
Right.
You're watching my patterns.
Paying attention, and that's how you learn how to do it yourself.
That's how you learn to do it yourself, is by watching and knowing what step we're going to take next. Anticipating. So some of the best assistants I had were truly just the best listeners.
So the assistants you've had, they've moved on to doing things on their own. Is that kind of?
Absolutely.
Do you have an assistant right now by any chance?
I do not.
Okay.
Nope.
Do you want one?
No, thank you. I'm good. I don't mean it like that. I absolutely, I love having an assistant. They do make your life easier.
It's a lot of work though.
It's a little bit of work.
They make your life easier, but it is a lot of work because you're
not,
responsible for their success.
Yes, and it's not enough
I've made mistakes with assistants, not realizing that. I just didn't realize that.
Well, it's a give and take relationship.
And they have to kind of be like, they have to kind of understand who you are, and because they're going to get things from you. Like, you're very good. And like, I could assist you and learn from you.
Right.
You know, and maybe I should one day. That would be an amazing thing. As part of my journey to be better,
Right.
No one is above learning from someone better.
Yeah.
And but I had a hard time finding people that really could fit my gifts.
There you go.
know,
It's a
because
relationship.
So
And that's okay. But
so be a good
right
listener.
now I'm good
Okay.
off having an assistant.
It's just kind of the way you're doing things doesn't quite fit.
I'm putting a lot of focus in education and traveling. And so for me, having to give so much of my energy and so much of myself when I am on stage teaching, to be also on stage at the salon teaching an assistant, that's even more energy that I'm expending.
It's a lot of energy to be. You have to be. You really have to be tracking what your assistant's
Definitely.
doing.
And as just as on a human level, you need to be very protective of your energy and what you're giving to the world. And so if I'm giving and I don't allow that decompression time, then that's when you start to feel drained and burnt out.
I actually I know myself really well.
Right.
I can fight through burnout. We all can.
Yep.
I've learned how to fight through it. I don't get burnt out. I fight through it, but I know that I have to have resting times, even when I think I'm okay. I've developed a rhythm of resting.
Yeah.
I do a lot of hours and a lot of different things.
And it took us a while to get there. And maybe there's somebody out there feeling stressed out because they're trying to do everything. And just remember, you don't have to be everything to everybody.
How do you not do that?
You just don't. You've burnt out before and you've felt stress and anxiety and you don't want to go there anymore. So you just don't. You are protective. You have balance.
Do you stop doing certain things?
You set boundaries.
Boundaries.
You set boundaries. Instead of being the yes, 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 you think, well, is this opportunity going to make me happy? Is it going to make me money? Because if it's not doing either of that, then I'm really not interested.
Yeah.
I used to be a very, I would say yes to every single thing. Do you want to clean the toilet? Yes. Because it might get me somewhere. Do you want to fold all these towels at my salon? Yes. It might get me somewhere. And then you realize, you've said yes to these opportunities that, quite frankly, never served you.
You learn certain things.
It's a maturity sort of thing as you get going in the industry to learn how to set those boundaries and just be okay with saying no if it's not going to help you.
That's hard for people.
It was really hard for me.
It's hard.
This is
at times it's
this is not a forever journey. I've not forever been good at this. It's
Yeah.
only been, I would say, probably 3 years since I've been great at boundaries.
No, it takes time.
It's learning.
It takes practice. It takes making mistakes.
Right.
I've made a lot of mistakes. I was just earlier today. I was just talking to Mac about something I could have done a lot better.
Right.
But no one stops. You just don't stop. Mistakes, you learn from them.
You've got to learn.
You really have to learn from them. So speaking of that, give me a mistake that you really learned from, or there's somebody I watch, and he does videos and he does interviews, and he talks about he asks them, what's your favorite failure, because that turned into something great.
Yes.
So I don't want to steal that from him, but I want to give you that idea. What's a mistake that you look back and you're like, wow,
sure,
that's something that I could have avoided, or I'm better from it, or it led to something.
Right.
Let's talk about one of those things.
Favorite failure. I like the way you put that. Not setting boundaries and just giving too much. That would be my favorite failure, because now I have learned you just have to stay true to yourself and put that energy into your own personal development and growth.
That's well said. One last question. We'll probably wrap. Unless this has been great. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. Give me a moment where you had to take a big risk and it paid off. Tough choice. Tough choice for a big risk that really paid off for you. Don't say doing stage stuff, because that's easy for you. Pick something that scared you.
Yeah, that's not a risk.
What scared you and you did it and it worked?
I don't think I've gotten to that point yet. I think things have just organically happened, and it may not have been the way I wanted it to, but it has somehow worked out for me. Okay. And so I don't feel like I've had that big risk quite yet.
Do you think it's coming?
I don't feel a hurricane coming through.
There's nothing that was a big challenge for you, huh?
Oh, I've had big challenges.
Okay, give me a challenge then.
But that's not a risk. I
think of risk and
making a choice, making a decision.
Okay, give me a big decision.
I haven't had it.
Okay, then give me.
That's the thing.
All right, give me a big challenge. Since this question is like totally failing, give me a big challenge.
Yeah, I mean, a big challenge is changing my career path from school administration to focusing.
Oh, that's right, because we forgot to mention you did work with schools in the actual administration. That's how you met me. That's how we met.
Yeah.
So you were my administrator and my teacher.
Sure.
In the past.
There you go.
So you're saying switching from administration
switching from more of administration, business, marketing, management sort of situation to being quite independent in business for myself, being self-employed.
That was a big choice.
It was not really a choice, but it was part of the path that I needed to take. And it has been different, but it's changed my perspective about a lot of different things, for sure. But, that might have been like maybe a risk going into business for myself, focusing more on my salon work behind the chair and traveling and educating people and sharing my love.
Your love.
My love.
I like that. It's a good way to end it. All right, so one last thing you want to tell the world. What do you want to tell the world about hair and beauty? Why do you love it? Why should they love it? Why should somebody watching this that doesn't even do hair, why should they watch this? Why should they maybe go see you if they don't have a hair person? Why?
It's not even about hair and beauty. It's about being a good person and giving back to your community.
Being a good human.
Yeah, and giving positive energy and light everywhere you go and just being really open, an amazing communicator. Like, that is what this industry is about. It really has nothing to do with hair. It is so much more than that. So that would be my advice, is just be an awesome human and everything will work out for you.
Learn to like people.
Yeah.
And like yourself. If you like yourself, you're going to like people.
Definitely.
Nikki, thank you.
Thank you.
This has been a lot of fun. All right, where can they find you on the internet? On Instagram, right?
Always on Instagram at NIKKI RAMOS Hair.
All right, and you can follow me at Jason J. Daniel everywhere on the internet and on the Twitter and on the YouTube.
On the interwebs.
On the interwebs. Love you guys. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. That was a lot of fun. Thank you.
You're welcome.